Assalamu alaikum everybody. Our lesson today is talking about the coordinate plane. That lesson, guys, was taken before how to grab the points in the coordinate system or the coordinate grid. Of course, you know how to grab them easily. Okay, so we talked before how to grab the positive numbers only, but today we'll take something extra, which is graphing the negative numbers also. So let's firstly know what is the coordinate grid, or let's remind you what is the coordinate grid, which is the grid containing two number lines, which were named as x-axis and y-axis, if you remember that. So the coordinate plane is a grid containing two number lines that intersect at a right angle at 0, which is called the origin point, if you remember that, of course. The number lines called the x and y axis, as I said to you before, divide the plane into four quadrants. So the shown one here, guys, is called the coordinate plane, okay, which is shown here. That coordinate plane, guys, is divided into four parts. Each part is called a quadrant. So the first part, which is here, that one is called the first quadrant. Then that one, which is on the left, is called the second quadrant, and that one is called the third quadrant, and that one is called the fourth quadrant. So in the first quadrant, guys, I think that you can see the numbers. You can see all the numbers in the first quadrant are positive. So you can see that the x coordinates here, or the part of x-axis here, is the positive part, and the part also from y-axis here is the positive part. So x and y coordinates are positive in that quadrant. For example, like if there is any point like 3 and 4, guys, because 3 is positive and 4 is positive, of course that point will be located in that quadrant, which is the first quadrant. What about the second quadrant, guys? You can see that the second part from x-axis, which is the left part, here is the negative part from x-axis. So x coordinate in this quadrant will be negative, and y coordinate will be positive, of course. So in the second quadrant, x is negative and y is positive. In the third quadrant, of course, both coordinates here in this quadrant has the left part from x-axis, or the negative part from x-axis, and the negative part from y-axis. Okay, so x and y both will be negative numbers here. So both coordinates, which is x and y, will be negative numbers. And the fourth quadrant, of course, has only the negative part from y-axis and the positive part from x-axis. So x will be positive and y will be negative. So as I said again, the coordinate plane is divided into four parts. The first part is the first quadrant. It's called the first quadrant. X and y, x coordinates and y coordinates are positive here. And the second quadrant, the x coordinates the x coordinate here is negative, and y coordinate is positive. And in the third quadrant, x and y coordinates are negative, and in the fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is negative. Let's know now how to grab the points, or let's remind you how to grab the points, because I said to you that before. So in question number one, firstly let's solve those questions. Then in question 3 to 5, I'll show you how to grab the points easily. In question number one, he said, in which quadrant does the point lie if its x and y coordinates are negative? As I said, in the third quadrant, because x and y coordinates are negative in the third quadrant. So which quadrant here, of course, will be the third quadrant. Question 2, does 4 and 5 and 5 and 4 locate the same point? Explain. Of course, guys, no, that's no. Why that's no? Because their coordinates are different. The x coordinate in the first point is 4, but the x coordinate in the second point is 5. The y coordinate in the first point is 5, and the y coordinate in the second point is 4. So their coordinates are different, so of course they will be graphed in different places. Okay, so of course they don't have the same location. From question 3, or in question 3 to 4 to 5, graph and label the points given. The first point, which is w, negative 5 and 1. As I said to you before, that I'll start graphing from the x coordinate. What is the x coordinate here is negative 5. So I'll start moving to the right 5 units. Of course, no, guys. Because the number here, because the x coordinate here is negative, I'll move to the left. from which place I start moving from the origin point, which is called 0 and 0. So first I'll move 5 units, but to the left, because because the x coordinate here is what is a negative number, is not a positive number, of course. So I start moving from 0, 5 units to the right, to the left, excuse me. That's the first unit. The second one, third, and fourth, and the fifth one. Then y coordinate here is 1. If y coordinate is 1, means I'll move up only 1 unit, which will be here, of course, that point, which is the blue point here, that represents point W, which is -5 and 1. Question 4, how to graph point X, 4 and 3, which is 4 and 3, of course, using the same way. The X coordinate here is 4 and the Y coordinate is 3, so I'll move 4 units to the right. Why will I move to the right here? Because the X coordinate is positive and it is not negative. If it's negative, I have to move to the left. So because the X coordinate here is positive number, I'll move to the right 4 units, then I'll move up 3 units. So 1 unit to the right, then 2, 3, 4 units to the right, then 3 units up, 1, 2, 3, then put the point which represents the point x and x, which is 4 and 3. What about point 5, which is z, -2 and 1 and 0? As I said to you before, guys, if the y coordinate is 0, so of course the point will be located on x-axis. If the x coordinate is 0, so the point will be located on y-axis. Because the y coordinate in this point is 0, so of course the point will be located on x-axis. So how to graph this point? Just start moving also from 0. So because the x coordinate is negative, I'll move to the left, of course. But as I said, usually start moving from 0. So move from 0 2 units to the left, 1 unit, then another unit to the left to be here. And of course I can't move up or down 0 units. So that's the point z, which is -2 and 0. And that's our lesson today, guys, and thank you so much.